Hey guys, what's going on and welcome back to the garage. Today we've got a big job. Hopefully I can get it done today. Realistically, probably go on into tomorrow. We're going to be installing, as you can tell by the video title, I'm sure, the cab marker lights for the Ram because mine didn't come with it. And we've got Go Recon Ram 5th Gen 19 to 21 for 2500, 3500, 5-piece set, as you can see here, with the smoked lenses. So I will say the box looks really cool. It's got a nice like magnetic lid. Spent all the money on the packaging, but it came with no instructions whatsoever, and I mean nothing. You go online, you get this 8.5 by 11 PDF, which you think you could maybe scale up and use as a template, but no, because this is not to scale. This is 3 3/4. This is 3.5. This line is actually longer than this line, so as a template, useless. But it does tell you, where you need to mark things out. So it's just going to take a while. So for what you get out of the box, hopefully all the money was spent on the product and not the instructions, because there's none. So what we're going to be doing is first going into the cab, pulling out the A-pillars, dropping the headliner down a little bit, pulling out the sun visors, disconnecting the battery if you have a diesel, both batteries, and then once we get those down, we'll go ahead and start marking out for position. Tape off the roof with this guy where we're going to be drilling to protect the paint, and keep the shards of the steel from when we're drilling from scratching the paint as it rotates out of the hole. And then we'll go from there in terms of running the cable, which it does come with the harness. It's in here, and it comes with like the world's cheapest T-taps. So hopefully we can use some different ones that I've got in this bag for a very cool project coming up soon. Just waiting on some relays. But all I'll say about that is aux switches and Baja light bar. So stay tuned for those if you're interested in that. But for now, we're going to be tapping. These are some of the tools I've lined up just to show you guys what we'll need. Tap the hole so the bit doesn't wander. Start with a small bit, and then for the screws that come with this to hold these lights on, they're going to be the bigger bit of the two here. So we got 7/64 and 3/32. So we'll start the hole with the 3/32 and then jump up to the 7/64, which, depending on the thickness of the gauge of the cab steel, hopefully this will work. I may have to think about getting a anchor or something. Hopefully not, because it just comes with screws. So we'll see how that goes. There's again no instruction. So first step, grab your non-marring pry bars and head into the cab. Okay, so I know I said the first step was to hop in the cab. The real first step was to go up into the hood and disconnect both batteries. Anytime I pull off the A-pillar, I get a little nervous that I might knock the airbag on the way out, and I really don't want to set that off in my face. So both batteries disconnected, we should be good to go. First thing we're going to do, take our non-marring pry bar and look up in here to pop this guy off. So there's two of them. There's this one and this one down here, and then we'll pop that off. A couple of 10 mil, I think they're gonna be 10mm bolts. I'll take a look once I get that popped off, and I'll hop back up with you once this is out of the way. All right guys, I've got both the bolts that lived way deep in there and down below out. They were 10mm. Once you get them out, basically just give this a tug real hard towards you and it will pop out. There's a couple of plastic clips in there. And then obviously there's these two down there. We'll put that in the back for now, so it doesn't get damaged or anything. So this is what we're working with. We've got the headliner exposed here. This will allow the headliner to drop down. Taking this A-pillar out will allow the headliner to drop down so we can get the lights on this side. So we're gonna do the same with the A-pillar on the other side. And then the next step will be to pop these visors off and I'm not sure if we have to do anything with this. I've seen some people say you don't have to mess with this. I'm really hoping they're right, because I don't want to have to deal with pulling that out. I'd like to just be able to drop this whole thing down a few inches so I can run the harness along and then pop it back up. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead, pop that off, and then I'll meet back up with you once I'm doing these guys. Okay, I know I said I'd meet you over there and then come back with these visors, but I thought since I was sitting here, I'll just do the visor. There are two, I think, 8mm bolts that come in here to hold this guy, and a Torx 20 bit in there that hold this up. This pops out with a little bit of persuasion. There's a clip here and a clip here that'll pop out here. I haven't unplugged this harness. I'm hoping I don't have to, just to drop the headliner down. It looks like I may need to undo a couple of bolts in here and maybe a clip holding the headliner sort of in place here. I'm going to do that last. So now that I got this visor off, I've taken the weather stripping down as well and gotten this guy kind of loose and floaty there. So I'm going to go over and get to the same point on that side and then make a call about what I got to do here. Okay guys, we've got the left driver's side A-pillar off, passenger side A-pillar off, this guy hanging down, that guy hanging down. I hope the only thing holding it on now up front, let's see if I turn the flash on here, are these two 8mm bolts. I'm going to undo those, and those bolts are inside the sunglass housing. I'm going to undo those, and hopefully maybe there's just those two and a couple of clips holding it, and I can just pop this whole thing down in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and undo those and meet back up with you after I figure out what I find. Okay, I've got this console, upper console dropped. These back clips are reinforced here with metal. These front ones are really weak, and I kind of cracked this one. And same at this one where it mounts there, but there's two screws that hold it in place, and I'm gonna glue those clips back, so we should be all right. There is one more bolt up here that I think will undo, and this should then drop the headliner. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo that and finally see this headliner drop. Okay, it's been about 2 hours since I last talked to you guys. I have the headliner pulled down, I think, just far enough on the inside to allow me to sneak the harness up in there and connect all these. I've spent 2 hours just kind of crawling up on the roof here, trying to figure out where exactly to line each of these up, because I don't have a template. It was a lot of just sort of like measuring and double checking and measuring and double checking. The template they do provide essentially just tells you to make it, where is it? It's probably up on the roof. I was using it as a flexible straight edge. Here we go. The template they do provide tells you to make it 3.75 inches from the edge on both sides. For me, the problem with this template is that the roof is not, this line here is not straight. It curves out towards the windshield. So I'll just show you my measurements real quick. I ended up doing 5 inches from the edge to the center of the hole, which is the same as 3.75 to the edge of the light, and then 4 and 6.5 sixteenths from the edge to the center of the hole. That pretty much straightened it up. It was about a 9.5 sixteenth, I guess, tail out. So 9.5 sixteenths increase between here and here, and then 4 and 5 sixteenths from the front of the roof to the center of the hole, as opposed to 3.5 to the front of the light. So that's all up in there. The next step is kind of the big one, which is to start drilling I wanted to show you before I did that the bolt up in here. There it is. I have this loose. If I take this all the way out, I'm concerned that the headliner would start to pinch in this area, and I'm trying to do this without touching this B pillar at all. So I'm gonna try and, as you can see, get my hands back in here and try and plug things in that way, because I really don't want to make this job bigger than it has to be. It's already a big enough thing. So go ahead and I guess start lining things up to drill. Okay guys, I've gotten the first holes drilled. I'm gonna go to the store and get a better half-inch bit. My half-inch bit is dull, my Christmas tree one, and I don't want to use my wood bits on this because obvious reasons. This one, my tiny holes work perfectly. The screws will bite into these. No, I don't know, nothing else needed in terms of like anchors. So those will be fine. I'll get some footage of me drilling these guys once I get the better bit, but what I wanted to show you first was running the harness. This is the harness that they give you. I figured I'd run it up through here, along the A-pillar, down below here, and then into this area. We'll leave this out. It will be disconnected for now. But we're just gonna drop this guy on back and just kind of fish it through. There we go. Making sure that we leave ourselves enough space to connect it. So I think that should be fine. If not, we can always add more, but hopefully we're good. So we're just gonna run it up along the existing harness in here. I think I'm just gonna zip tie it to the existing harness and then tuck it up underneath there, and then just start connecting the first light. This is the connector that it comes with, and there's another opposing connector on the light. I'm gonna run the light through, try and connect it, and then I'll know I'll have room here to do so, and I won't have to mess with the B-pillar plastic, which will be great. And then obviously, once I get this connected, I think I'm gonna just test this whole thing out in terms of how it goes together. Putting the first light on, essentially into those holes. And then before I screw it up, use some of this silicone to seal it for rain, because it is going to start raining here tomorrow. So I haven't drilled the other holes yet for that reason. So I wanted to see, obviously, because it never rains here, I wanted to see how waterproof that one is, I think, first. So we'll get that done first, and I'll show you how it looks once it's all connected, and I'll leave this down here. Another thing I forgot to mention was I'm going to be using some of my Mopar Pearl White touch-up paint up here to make sure these steel exposed edges are not exposed. So I'm sure it'll be a little overkill, especially I'm going to be sealing everything, but overkill is good. So go ahead and do that as well. Alright guys, so I've got the light connected, so it's technically wired up. Going to next use some of this stuff. It's the same stuff I used to seal the lights under the steps, the bed steps down there. And this is just stuff you get at Home Depot. You have flexible, all-purpose, waterproof, ultra flexible, crack proof, cold weather, multi-surface. So get a tube of this, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the 2 screw holes, as well as a bead around the larger hole. Not in it, that wouldn't do anything. It'll just drip into the roof, and I don't want that. I'm gonna put a bead around the larger hole, and then when I set this on top of it, it will squish out underneath here and hold it in place and seal it nicely. All right, so go ahead and get that done, and I'll meet back up with you when that's ready. All right, guys, as you can probably see, I've pulled the truck out for the night. We're supposed to get a bunch of rain, so I've put a bunch of plastic, taped it over the tape marking template that I spent hours today putting together. For the other 4 lights, I've done some waterproof testing. Took a bottle of water and just dumped it over the top of this. And I'm really kind of nervous as to how this will look underneath here in a sec. Make sure my hands are completely dry. I don't see any water dripping, which is fantastic. It's cold, but it's cold out. I don't feel anything there. Let's look at it. Focus. That looks good. I don't see any water, so I think we're okay. There we go. So, I think, part of the reason why I wanted to do just one was to, not only see how it looked and test it, but to just kind of test the install method, and it seems to have gone, quite well. Go ahead and dry this up now, just kind of make sure nothing got inside the lens as well. Hopefully not. And we'll meet you back tomorrow for part 2, getting the other 4 on. Alright, good morning everyone. This is kind of just gotten back out here. Today it's a much colder morning, so hopefully we can get this done before it really starts raining in earnest. But as you can tell, that light is done and in and secure. It was out all night and it was fine. Had some water pooled in the screw holes, but it didn't go through them, which is fantastic. The other 4 still need to be drilled, so I'm going to get going on those and try and get some footage of one of the, I think I'm going to try and record the one on the far right there for you guys to see just everything that happens when we do drill it. So I'm going to go ahead and get going on these and come back with you when I go to drill the far right one. Alright guys, I've got these holes drilled and these holes drilled. I've put touch-up paint on the edges of the holes and thought I'd take a break from drilling to show you what I do under here before I screw it all down. So the first thing I'm going to do is take some of this, let's see if the view focuses. It's that silicone stuff I showed you yesterday, and just put it on these 2 holes and then around this bigger one. Okay. Next you want to grab the screws that it comes with and a 2.5 millimeter Allen key. Screws started into the holes, into the sheet metal, and then finish them off with this guy. They do go in pretty easily, but I've found that the screws that this kit comes with, at least the screws that my kit comes with, I don't know if they're the same for everyone. I believe it was a 7/64 bit. I'll take a look. Basically, any bit that just covers the shank of the screw but not the threads will allow you to just drive these screws straight into the sheet metal, no anchors needed. Turn it a bit so you feel that. Okay. Pull this off. Let's go take a look at how everything lines up. Okay. this guy. So, all right, perfect. So far, so good. So I'll put the middle one in. I think after I drill the holes for this guy and that guy, I'll show you drilling for the holes on the far right, just because it's easiest to reach and I won't have to be leaning over the camera and such. Alright guys, as promised, we're over here on the closest one to me. Should be the easiest to film. To start with, I've been center punching each of these holes just to ensure that the drill bit doesn't walk on me. So carefully line it up. And give it a good punch. So those are done. Let's start with the bit. Okay, so the bit that I've been starting with is a 5/64 bit. It's really quite small, and I found it just starts the holes off best. The other thing you want to do is make sure your headliner is kind of clear, well clear of the holes you're drilling, so your bits don't go through and hit the headliner. The final size that I'm using for the screws that came with my kit is 7/64, up from 5/64, which is our pilot bit, so not a whole lot bigger. I'm going to do all three of these holes, even the middle one, which is the one for the wire, with this bit, before I come back with the step bit. Okay, so this will be the final hole we're drilling for these guys. The step bit here is a hex shank, so it works with my impact driver drill here. And we're going to take it to this level, which I got taped off, this level, which I got taped off here, which will get us a nice 1/2 inch hole. Also, wanted to mention, try and get one, if you don't already, that kind of tapers out quickly. That'll shorten the distance the bit has to be inside the roof to minimize chances of it coming in contact with the headliner. Alright, so now we've got our holes drilled. Let's go ahead and take the tape off and just kind of reveal the holes and the fact that the paint around them is, perfect and not really torn up at all. So the tape helps keep the holes cleaner around the paint line. Okay, the next step before we move on to putting the light in is get your touch-up paint. I already had some from when I did the bed steps, the amp steps rather, on the side. This is pretty good stuff. It's just the same pearl white Mopar paint. So I'd recommend you just have a color or pen of it sticking around for the color of your truck or vehicle, whatever it is. It's always nice to have on hand, so just go around and get the edges here of the exposed steel, so prevents any kind of rusting in the future. So that's the drill. So we're gonna go ahead and let this dry. I'm gonna get this light put in and I'll meet back up with you once I connect this light with the harness in here. Alright guys, let me get the light on here for you. I've got the light up above here connected and installed. I had to cheat with that one a little bit and get my wife out here with her forceps that she calls hands. She's got some really tiny hands and actually managed to sneak in here and grab the harness and click it in place. I have no idea how. This one, and the same as that one, you can cheat a little bit. You can bring the harness down here through this little opening, as well as this connector from the light, connect the two here, and it makes your life easier. And once you get them connected, just tuck it up out of the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect that, and then about here, we'll go ahead and get this one on and sealed and tightened down, and then we'll go connect them to power and see how they look. Okay guys, I plugged the batteries back in on one of them, and I thought I'd take this time to show you how to pop off this guy. Get a non-marring pry bar and just kind of get it in here and then twist as you work your way up. Twist the tool and it should pop right out. There you go. So you'll see this is in here. The harness that we want to tap into is right here. It's this guy, and it'll be pinned in with this. You're gonna have to undo that, which I did last night, and it's connected below that. Okay guys, I ended up wiring this up off camera just because it was quite difficult to get to. I'll explain what I did here in a second. So you have the harness here. You have this top one where you've got looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 wires continuing up somewhere, and the black one, which is ground. So I tapped into ground. I tapped into the ground up above just because it was easier to access. There's also a ground on the other side of this clip down here where my finger's pointing, my ring finger's pointing there. There's a ground on the other side of that clip in the same pin, but it was just harder to get to, so I figured I'd use this one here. I'm using T-taps, by the way, that I'm going to be using on the aux switches when I did install those. And I got these on Amazon. They're much nicer than the aux or the T-taps that come with this Go Recon thing. These are absolutely massive and cheap. So if we come back in here, by the way, I took the glove box out, which you can do if you simply pull, starting on the left side out, straight towards you. You don't have to press the sides, and just pull it straight out, and then pull the right side straight out. You'll be able to get that glove box out of there. So let's see. So you'll see the power cable here. That is tapped into a white and green wire. That's pin 1 on the whole of this 16-pin thing. Ground is pin 16. So complete opposite corner, a kitty corner for ground. But I just grabbed ground up above because it was way easier. I spent a lot of time trying to reach back in here and grab this. Had to undo some of this sticky wire loom. Took forever, but I got the T-tap in there. Clamped it down, and then clamped it onto this guy. This is the red wire that comes from the harness on the Go Recon lights. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting this all back together. So make sure you leave enough room for your harness wire up in the headliner there, and then run it. So reverse, start over there, tuck it all back, and then zip tie it along the existing harness down here, and then you can start buttoning the A-pillars back in. So we're going to do that next. Before we put the batteries back together, I just want to have the A-pillars back over these airbags before I plug the batteries, and I just don't want to accidentally knock something and watch a bag go off in my face. It isn't worth it. Alright guys, I am still in here. I've gotten this visor back together. It goes back together pretty straightforward. This one, just make sure you align this clip properly. It's a little hard to start the screw. These go in pretty straightforward. Just keep tightening until you can't feel it anymore. There's a white clip in here that's really just a spacer between this plate and the headliner and the roof. It basically becomes a hard back plate once it's all screwed in. Headliner's done. I'm sorry, visor's done here. First thing I did though is tighten this bolt, bring the whole headliner back up, this visor. And then before I went any further, I went up in here to take a look at the hull. This little white stuff, that is the touch-up paint. I went and had my wife watch this while I poured a bunch of water on the center light just to do a leak test, and we didn't get anything. If you're wondering what this is here, that is a bead of dried silicone from when the screw went through. So we got absolutely nothing in terms of leaking, which I am over the moon about, really, because this could have gone a lot of number of ways, and if it had leaked onto the headliner, I would have been really screwed. So I'm really glad I went with the additional silicone that I laid down up there, in addition to the rubber gasket that it came with, because those aren't super thick, that rubber gasket on the light. So really glad that I tested that out, and really glad I put the silicone down. Recommend you do the same. So I'm going to go ahead and get that visor put back together, throw the center console back in, and then put the A-pillars back, and we should be good to go. Alright, got the driver's side visor in now, and I thought I'd come back with you to sort of highlight how to put the A-pillar back. It's pretty straightforward. You may want to pull the weather stripping down, start from the outside here, pull it back. This will get the seal off of the airbag here and allow you to get the A-pillar casing back around inside the airbag and inside the weather stripping a little bit more easily. So there's a few grooves up here. Just want to make sure they sit inside of those, and then tip the casing up into place. And remember, we've got the one major clip. Try and find it here. Shadow's in the way. There's a clip. There's the hole. Clip. Hole. You got to put the clip into that. Just push it into place, and you're pretty much done. So now all you got to do is grab the two bolts that we took out, the 10 millimeters, and put those in, and your A-pillar will be in place. So come back, make sure you pull the weather stripping outside the A-pillar, and then just push this back, and you are good to go. So A-pillar, we'll bolt that up in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do this one, that one, and then put the console back. I went ahead and grabbed some super glue, take care of this clip, that clip, both of which kind of cracked a little bit coming out yesterday. Should be fine. Mostly because those clips aren't really structural, because there are, see, a bolt there and a bolt there that tie into there and there. These seem to be more like guide clips. These are the ones in the back that are the ones you can't break. They're reinforced, and they're the ones that hold this up to the headliner in the back. So those, don't break those. So I'll let you know if I have any issues with it, but I don't anticipate anything. So I'm going to go ahead and get the A-pillars done, connect the battery, back it up, and then put this sort of center console up above and last. Alright guys, it is nighttime, as you can tell. I thought I'd come back and just show you what it all looks like at night. So keep these lights on here. See what it looks like at night with everything all done, wired up. It's really cool. I gotta say, I love the product. Again, instructions were a little bit few and far between, but anyway, I'll go ahead and show it to you. I did mention earlier the I guess the thing up top, the center console up above had a couple of crack clips. The bolts put it in place just fine. No issues there. So if that happens to you, don't freak out. Anyway, I'll go ahead and start it up and show you the lights. Okay, come on out here and take a look at these guys. So these are the final result. couldn't be happier with how everything turned out. You know, without the template, I was able to center them up really nicely from the edges, just perfect. Love the color. Love the lenses that are smoked during the day, so it just really sets things off. So if you enjoyed the video or thought it was useful, or if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and all that. Stay tuned for more.